Hello viewers and welcome to a brand new episode of Mechanic Brewery Season 5, where I talk about the various homebrew mechs created by the Lancer community. In today's episode, Quetzalpapalotl, from Mutual Protective Aggregate License, by 3 Marchado in Trenchcoat. Quetzalpapalotl is essentially the Nahuatl or Aztec term for butterfly, or close approximation to it, because a more direct translation would be feathered butterfly. Which feathered butterfly, I do not know, but the actual history behind the name is less important than why this frame is named as such. This is because the Quetzalpapalotl originated as a Constella prototype of the Smith Shimano Core Pro, partially related to the Monarch. Now, in the Mondian Protective Aggregate License, an organization that gathers up experimental, reverse-engineered, and improvised designs by multiple independent designers to put it under one protective licensing program for export, the Quetzalpapalotl can truly see right through any disguises above the blue sky. Looking at its stats, Quetzalpapalotl is a size 1 frame with no armor, average health, and a decent 4 repair cap. It's also very evasive and quite speedy. Its sensor range is long too, with excellent E-defense, +1 to tech attack, as well as decent heat cap and a 6 base systems points. As for its traits, it has 2 of them. First, Legion I, for once per round when Quetzalpapalotl would scan or search a character, you can choose to target either said character's evasion or E-defense when firing your Nexus weapons and also ignore the target's hidden and invisible statuses until the end of your next turn. Second, Hybrid Naval Mount. Quetzalpapalotl has an integrated EVA module. You may also hover whenever you fly or take a movement besides standard move, but must end the movement on solid ground or fall. To put it shortly, if you like to support by scanning or searching things as well as using Nexus weapons and flying everywhere, you will like Quetzalpapalotl. Otherwise, it's gonna be a hard sell, but there's more. As for its weapon mounts, Quetzalpapalotl has 3, 2 mains and 1 heavy. Onto its core system, Quetzalpapalotl has Twin Mind, in which Quetzalpapalotl has AI tag from its integrated Tiamat Legion node. This thankfully doesn't count towards the maximum number of AI you could have, for once per round. When you scan or successfully search a target, you may lock onto said target as a free action. Tiamat also does not cascade. Essentially, you no longer need to use the lock-on action, you can just scan or search and get to lock-on for free, which also means Quetzalpapalotl is a good mech for those that wants to lock on to almost everything. It's just more support. As for its core power, Quetzalpapalotl can activate Tiamat Legion node for matrimony, in which with a protocol. For the rest of the scene, you just plain ignore hidden and invisible statuses for anyone within your sensor range. Locked on characters within your sensor cannot benefit from hidden or invisible statuses at all, and when you successfully attack a locked-on character, the attack becomes a critical hit if it isn't. Do you and your team utterly despise invisible and sneaky enemies? Well, they are just enemies now, go shoot them up. That's basically all that is to this core power. As for the rest of its license, you can get Hornet Guardian Drone and Predator Array in the first section. Hornet Guardian Drone, glaring literal daggers. When you scan, lock on, or successfully search, you deal 1 kinetic damage to the target. It's basically free damage if you do any of those actions frequently, good for any support builds. Predator Array, more like Anti-Predator Array, is a full tech systems upgrade that gives you 2 full tech options. First, Spectrum Pulse, you scan, and then make a tech attack against all targets in a cone 7 starting from your spot. On success, the target is locked on and takes 2 heat. Second, Panoptic Pulse, unleash a blast 2 subsonic pulse within sensors and line of sight. You may search for all characters in the area immediately, rolling a single systems checks for all contests. Characters failed the contest check are revealed immediately, lose hidden, and are also shredded until the end of their turn. While shredded this way, they cannot become hidden or invisible by any means. So yeah, you want to lock onto a whole lot of people, or want to make sure nobody can hide behind disguises or armors, this is it. Aside from getting the Quetzalpapalotl frame itself, you get Sparrow B Skywatch Drone and a Pipharynx defense net in the second section. Sparrow B Skywatch Drone, actually a Nexus, oh god it's happening again. It's a heavy Nexus with arcing and smart, also a rather short range and good damage for a heavy. However, it has 2 tricks. First, against locked on target, you get +5 range to 10 and reliable 4, so even on a miss, that will hurt a lot. Second, on attack, the weapon also deals 1 damage to all locked on hostiles in range, meaning the more people you lock onto, the more free damage you get. Whatever you are doing, if you have this weapon, just lock on and it will do a lot of damage for you. Pipharynx defense net, just say no, upon activation with a quick action and 2 heat, you reduce your sensor range to 8 or minus by 5 to a minimum of 1, whichever lower, and you treat all characters in your sensor range as invisible. Those are all bad news. Now for the good news. Whenever a character in your sensor range targets you with a hostile effect or attack, they must pass a system save first. On failure, it's gone, including the action spent, no effect whatsoever. This lasts until the start of your next turn. That's right, you can just say no to basically anything, as long as your enemies failed their roll. That said, you need the attacking enemies to be within your reduced sensor range to be able to defend against them, but you are also able to attack anyone outside of your sensor bubble just fine, as there's no invisibility status in the way. Just put up the defense net when you really want to survive whatever that's coming in. In the final section, you get Tarantula Hawk Attack Drone and Yellow Jacket Deluge Drone. Tarantula Hawk Attack Drone, actually a rifle, it's a heavy rifle that costs 2 systems point to install, with ordnance and heavyweight tag. Heavyweight is a homebrew tag unique to Mutual Protective Aggregate License. When attacking with barrage action, you can choose to only heavy fire the heavyweight tagged weapon. This increases the attack accuracy and range 2 by the number, and considering the drone already has range 10, that's a long range. It also deals a good damage for a heavy. Also, when you or an ally scan, search, or lock onto a hostile character in sensor range, that character gains a Legion lock, which expires at the end of your next turn. When you heavy fire the drone, you may attack the Legion locked character as if the weapon had seeking and was also a Nexus, meaning it also benefits from Nexus talent for more pain. Also, on attack, as if that wasn't enough, if you heavy fire this weapon and consume Legion lock against the target, you create a Blast 2 bombardment zone that includes the target. Characters of your choice in the zone cannot take reaction until the end of your turn, and must succeed on an agility save or take 2d6 explosive damage, or half as much on a success. Essentially, think of the drone as a machine gun. When you heavy fire it, you can suppress a whole area and prevent anyone in it from reacting, as well as doing even more damage from the sheer amount of firepower that you are producing. It's a very useful tool to convince the enemies that they should get the hell out from wherever you are shooting right now. And lastly, Yellow Jacket Deluge Drone. What do you mean there's more Nexus? It's a main Nexus with smart that costs 2 systems points to install, with very long range but low damage for a main. The reason why it costs 2 systems points is because for once per round, when you or an allied character scan, search, or lock onto a target in range and line of sight, you may just shoot them with this drone as a reaction. Yup, even when you are just scanning, you can shoot someone, and it doesn't even have to be you that pull the trigger. You still need a reaction though, keep that in mind. And that's basically it on Quetzalpapalotl, an all-seeing hovering frame that supports its allies by making sure nobody can sneak behind them, or at the very least, make sure they are very dead for doing so. And for anyone that wonders why I didn't talk about MPAL core bonuses, no reason. Anyway, that's all for now and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.